it all in style. From the mountains to the ocean, windward to the leeward side. Chee. And on the islands, we do it all in style. Chee. From the mountain to the ocean, windward to the leeward side. It's breakfast with Bob.
Hey everybody, Poncho Man! The legend! Welcome back to Breakfast with Bob, Day 2, our Kona World Championship edition from beautiful Huggos on the Rocks. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by HOKA Fly Human Fly, Master Spas, Precision Fuel and Hydration, Crush Your Race Nutrition. Deboer, Outrigger, Kona Resort and Spa, stay longer, save more. And of course, our Challenged Athletes Foundation, our next guest, 6-time Ironman World Champion, 10-time East World Champion, Ironman Hall of Famer, USA Triathlon Hall of Famer, commencement speaker at UCSD. Give it up for the grip of death, Mr. Mark Allen.
All right.
How you doing, Gripster?
You know, there is no better way to start your day than having Poncho Man singing. That's better than like a donut and a coffee. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? You're just like, you're on the big island. You got this, there's like 12,000 people in the audience this morning.
That's gigantic.
It's a world's record. Amazing.
We've never had that big
Amazing.
a crowd before. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So when you were researching, well, first of all, getting asked to speak at your at UCSD, when you're thinking about presenting the speech, I'm sure you went back and thought about different things. Were there things that came up that you had sort of forgotten about when you went to go present and put that preparation together to do your presentation?
Yeah, I gave the commencement speech at University of California, San Diego this past summer when they graduated, 2025. I was completely honored to be asked to do that.
Absolutely.
I was an alumni from there, and I thought, finally they got Mark Allen to speak. You know? I mean, they've had the Dalai Lama, they've had Al Gore, Madeleine Albright, they've had some heavy hitters, right? And so I felt like I am in rarefied air to be doing this. And so anyway, I thought back to 1980, which was when I graduated 45 years ago, and what it was like for me to be sitting in that audience as a student. And I thought, you know, this is the first time in my life where I really felt like my life is an open landscape. It's an open canvas. I can do anything that I want.
Right.
So I had this amazing feeling of excitement and anticipation, but at the same time I was absolutely terrified because I had no idea what that thing was going to be. You know, I had a degree in biology, and but nothing that I could associate with that was sounding good. And 2 years after that, I was really nervous, like, okay, it's 2 years out of college now. I'm forgetting all of this stuff that I learned, and who's going to hire me? So anyway, that was sort of the framework I had when I was thinking about crafting the words that I was going to tell these students, because I know that some of them, they've got their career path lined out, but probably a lot of them were sitting on the edge of a cliff going, geez, what am I going to do? What's it like for me? And one of the reasons that the chancellor and his team asked me to speak was they felt like the world right now is it's kind of unpredictable,
it's
you know,
chaotic.
and there's nothing that is written in stone anymore. And so, you know, one of the things that I told the students is that, yes, you know, years ago things were in order, and you know, you get your degree, you get your job, you have a family, you do all this stuff, and which it's predictable. But at the same time, there's actually less opportunity because you're expected to do these things. I said, in times where things are unpredictable, there's actually incredible opportunity because there's, for those who are willing to look at possibility and potential and be creative in their thinking, they can take these skills that they've learned, this knowledge that they have, and maybe do something, maybe create a job that does not even exist today. And that related back to my own journey. You know, 2 years after I got out of college, I saw this thing called, what's the sport? Triathlon? Ironman. Yeah, this weird thing on the Big Island, 2.4 miles of swimming, 112-mile bike ride, a marathon. And
at the end, in 100-degree heat.
Yeah, and I thought you would have to be absolutely nuts to do that stupid thing. But 2 weeks later, I'm like, sign me up, stupid and nuts. That's my middle name, right? And so, and at that time, the job of being a professional triathlete did not exist. No. And so here I am, a 24-year-old, embarking on this absolutely exciting and terrifying journey to see if I could be a finisher at the Ironman. And at that time, when I in February 1982, when I saw the Ironman and I decided I want to go there and do that race just to see if I can be a finisher, because I saw these ordinary people crossing that extraordinary finish line, and I thought, wow, if they can do that, maybe I can too. Complete uncertainty, right? But it's those things that are uncertain that spark us, and it's that I don't know if I can do this or not, but it has intrigue for me to try. Those are the things that can fundamentally change your life, and it did for me because, I came here October 1982. I didn't finish. My derailleur broke on the bike.
And it didn't just break. Here you are. You had caught the guy, Dave Scott, who'd won the 80 race.
Who?
Yeah, Dave, whatever his name was. So you catch him out by Javi, and he you're like being a little bit of a smartass and saying, hey, Dave, what if we go for a run after this? And meanwhile, they knew so little about this guy, they had his name spelled wrong in the Chiron down below, Allan. It's like, who is this loser riding with Dave Scott? Dave shifts gears, runs away. Mark shifts gears. His derailleur falls off the bike. And he has to, you get a taxi back to town?
I was out in the middle of nowhere, and I thought, okay, my race is done. How am I going to get back there? And so, I stuck my thumb out, and this pickup truck stopped.
Yeah.
Picked me up, drove me all the way into town, dropped me off at the transition area for Bike to Run.
Right.
It was great. Like
at the Kona Surf.
Now that's aloha.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's totally aloha. But so that moment, here you are. Obstacles equal opportunities. You're back here in town. People are coming across the line. I'm guessing that spurred you to go, okay, I need to come back and finish this thing.
Yeah, I was with the best guy in the world for about 4 hours of racing, which, as you know, is about that's half the day right there.
Yeah.
And, granted, had I stayed with him all the way to the end of the bike and run the marathon, I would have blown up. I can, 6 years of doing that. After that, I realized I probably wasn't well prepared, but it opened up this window to a dream. Like maybe if I take my time and develop as a triathlete, maybe I can be the champion of this incredible race in this incredible place.
Because here you've gotten your degree from UCSD, I'm sure parents are like, okay, Mark's going to go to med school, he's move on with his life. Like, I think I just want to ride my bike, swim, and wear a Speedo around town. What was the reaction there?
Yeah, my father put me through college. He said, I will pay for 4 years of college. If you take 4 years, or if you take 4.5 years, you pay for that extra half a year, right? And so
right.
I graduated in 4 years. I'm very motivated to not spend money.
Exactly.
And so anyway, 2 years after this degree that I have sitting on my desk with no job to show for it, I'd get a call about once a month from my dad, and he'd be like, hey, how you doing? What are you doing? Or do you have a job yet? And so after seeing the Ironman, February 1982, the call came in, and I was prepared. Like, okay. So he's like, hey, Mark, how you doing? And before he could even ask the question, I go, Dad, I saw this thing on TV, and it's called the Ironman, and, blah, 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 and I rambled on for a while, and I said, and I want to go there and do it and see if I can cross that finish line. And he's like, long silence. What are you going to do with your life? And right. So it made no sense to him. And I understand that. Like, he had concern for me. Like, he doesn't want me to just end up on the street or chase some dream that is going to put me way behind in life. But we have those moments where something is calling us that maybe makes absolutely no logical sense why we have to do it. But those are the things that, in my opinion, should never be ignored. Yeah. Because life gives you certain turning points where you're given an opportunity to connect in with something that maybe you had no idea you would be involved with. Mm-hmm. And going with those things, and there was, like I said, an intrigue about it that was pulling me, and it was undeniable. I had no plan to become a pro triathlete. Like I said, that job did not exist.
No.
But clearly there was something there. And when I came here, I got off of the plane, and I was absolutely terrified. For anybody who is doing this race for the first time, you get off that plane and you're just like, what did I get myself into? And it's like that all the way till the swim start. But then when the gun goes off and you start racing, all of a sudden you feel like your life is falling in place. and you're in it and you're engaged, and on the swim you're trying to lock in and give the best you can, and you get on the bike and you're locking in even further and further, and you get to Hawi and you turn around and you come back and you climb out of Kauai High and you get back on the Queen K, and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, I think I realized what I got myself into.
Yeah.
It's like your body starts to wear down, and that fluffy dream of this amazing experience sort of wears off, and you realize, okay, this is a really big thing that I've asked of myself. Am I going to match that dream with the energy and with the commitment that it's going to take for me to get from this point on the bike to the next aid station, to the end of the bike, to the marathon, to the end of the energy lab, and back to that finish line? And you may not have the answer of how you're going to get there, but you know that somehow you're going to get there. And Shri Grunfeld said that last night at Heroes of Hawaii. She's the inductee into the Ironman Hall of Fame this year. Amazing woman, in my opinion, long overdue that she is inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But anyway, she said she just knew that no matter what, she was going to get to the finish line. She just didn't always know how that was going to happen. And that's sort of the magic of Ironman, because you find this piece of yourself that has been sort of lying dormant, just waiting for a really big challenge to be used. And without that challenge, you would never know you had that strength or that commitment or that resolve or that surrender to just say, you know what, this is hard, but I don't care. I volunteered for this.
Right.
You
paid to do it.
Nobody like put me in a straitjacket and stuck me on the start line. I committed to this. And you think about those hard workouts that you did. The early mornings when nobody was cheering, the late night runs in the dark when nobody was out there saying, you go get 'em, girl, you go get 'em, Yeah. And you think about those and you realize, I have prepared for this. And you think about, your family and your friends who are there for you, who will be there for you no matter how the race turns out. And in 1989, when I got here, I had done the race 6 times, not won 6 times, and everybody's like, "Dude, you are friggin' nuts to be going back. What? Go to Nice. You've winning in Nice.
You've won 10 of those. What
yeah,
the hell?
go where you can win." But I knew the island had called me back, and so I'm going to check my bike in, and there was a neighbor from San Diego area who came to watch. And I saw him at the check-in point, and I had this feeling, this unresolved feeling within myself, like if I don't win, if I don't have a great race, my life is going to be death and doom. My family and friends are going to kick me out on the street. Everything's going to be terrible. And this guy's name was Corky Ewing.
I know Corky, yeah.
And he looked at me and he goes, "Mark, no matter how tomorrow turns out, we are going to still love you." And it just hit me in this place like, oh my gosh, no matter what happens, my life is still blessed. It's going to be amazing, and I have these incredible friends and family who support me. And it was a tipping point where all of a sudden I realized this is important, but no matter what happens tomorrow, it's going to be fine. And I just had this like this calm washed over me that I had never experienced here, because there's so much tension and anticipation and excitement, and that's all great. You should have that stuff. But at the same time, when you have that sense of, wow, this is going to be cool. It's going to be hard. I don't know if I can do it, but somehow this is going to turn out just the way it's supposed to. And that was the beginning of me really feeling like I truly do feel like I can win this.
So it's interesting because going into 89, you would race Dave. Dave's got all these times, and in 88, he didn't race. And I was like, okay, for sure, Mark's winning. And then you flattened a number of times, ended up 5th, and it's like, oh my God, is this guy ever going to win this race? So then you come back and you win it in 89. And all those years through the 80s, it was like, oh, Mark's great in Nice, but he's not really great here. Now things shift. You're defending champion. Now you're Lucy Charles Barkley. When she's here, she's won the race. Now all the expectations are on her. Now going into 1990, the expectations are on you. You're the defending champion. Dave Scott's not coming. And can you win it again? How did that change your whole mindset from being sort of the underdog. I don't think he'll ever win here. He's in the hospital with internal bleeding. All the different crap that happened to you. Now you're the guy. Now you're Dave Scott. You're the defending champion.
Yeah, well, I had won it once, so I wasn't exactly Dave Scott. At that point, he'd won it 6 times, right? So that's.
But you were the.
But I was, the defending champion.
You're defending champion.
So
yes.
But I had seen that when somebody has a good race here, and they think, okay, I've got it figured out, and they try to exactly replicate it the next year, they come back, and no 2 races are the same, and they don't have another good race. And so, coming back in 1990 as defending champion, I said the worst thing that I can do is come back here and think I've got this wired. And so I went into training that year thinking I need to figure it out again,
right,
from ground up, ground zero, and to be very open to maybe doing something different in my training, something different on race day, and to feel like, yeah, I have figured out some of the pieces, but there's always going to be a piece that's a surprise. And so every year that I did come back and defended, I always felt like I was coming back for my first time.
Well, and every year in the 80s, you knew who you were shooting at.
Yeah.
And when you're talking 90, Tinley ends up second. 91, it's Welchie. 92, it's Bustos from Chile. And then Paulie Kuru, then Thomas Elwego. So every year, it was a different guy that you might not have been thinking about.
Yeah, that was kind of cool, huh?
It was sort of cool, right? Because you sort of had to adapt to whatever the hell was thrown in front of you.
Yeah, because each one of those 5 years after winning with Dave in '89, each of those athletes had a specific talent or skill or strength. And so I had to figure out on race day, how do I just get one step ahead of their strength?
Yeah. Yeah,
so pretty cool. But, this guy has been here 45 years.
Means I'm old.
Yeah,
but I'm not racing. Come on now.
I think you were 3 the first time you came here.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, no, actually, it was before we even came to this island. Actually, the funny part was we went to Oahu in 1980 and then came here in '81. There's only 100 of us in 1980.
Yeah.
So I had not really done a lot of swimming in the ocean, and ocean sort of scared the crap out of me. And it was the first time we were on this island, and the waves the day before the race were breaking over the seawall, right? And this friend of mine, used to be a friend, I think, but she's standing there and she goes, I think drowning would be the worst way to die. And I'm like, oh, that's not really helpful right now. Yeah, that's not it. But there's something, like you said, there's something about this thing that draws you here and changes you for the better. So
you saw John Howard win in 1981, right?
I did.
Did you think from that point on that winning this race would mean you've got to be an extremely talented cyclist, or did you feel like it can still be somebody who's got all the balance?
I think so. John Howard was the cyclist of the 70s. He was a 2-time Pan American Games gold. He was a Pan American Games gold medalist, 3-time Olympian. And he came in 1980, and everybody just assumed he's going to win the race because this is a world-class athlete. This Dave Scott guy's a swim coach. Nobody knows who any of these other idiots are. And John was out in the ocean for an hour and 52 minutes, right? He couldn't swim at all. Then he set a course record on the bike that stood for like 20 years, and then he ran 4 hours for a marathon. And it proved that you can't just win this thing with one strength. So he went to San Diego the following year, trained, learned how to swim, learned how to run, and he won in '81, which proved to me you got to be a triathlete. You can't just be a one-sport person. You got to be a triathlete. And I know you've been doing a ton of writing on Substack. Talk a little bit about that for folks who might not know what the hell that is.
Yeah, so Substack is kind of like, it's a new sort of social media platform, but the format is all writing. So it's not scrolling through a million pictures of people posing looking like their life is wonderful when really behind the scenes it's falling apart, And so we have been posting articles that are just trying to highlight the human side of endurance sports and and triathlon in specific, and really giving shout outs to just some of the stars current and past who have really had an impact on the sport. And I think a lot of times an athlete they'll win an Ironman and everybody goes, wow, that's really cool, but you don't hear the story behind it, or you don't really put it into context of a bigger picture of maybe what they had to overcome to get to that point. And we're just trying to tell stories about this sport in a way that really makes it compelling. And so it's called Substack. It's I think, and my business partner Scott Zagarino thinks it's going to be kind of like the next Twitter or the next Instagram or whatever. and it's all written content. You can look on there for free. There's no ads. There is subscription if you want to support the authors. You can do that.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's an incredible platform, and we've gotten a lot of really positive feedback about that. And so through that platform, I've kind of been able to highlight some of the women who are going to be racing here. We've highlighted Lucy
Taylor,
Charles, Taylor, and Laura Phillip.
Yep.
And in ways that acknowledges each one of them for who they are and the strengths that they have, and why each one of them could actually be the champion.
No question.
Yeah, so it's just amazing.
Like the men's race where you had 5-6 of the best in the world off the bike together. I don't think we'll have 5-6 off the bike together, but I think we'll have 5 or 6 chasing the person who's leading off the bike.
Oh, you think there's going to be somebody out front?
I do think that. I do think that.
This is a pretty exciting year, I think, because obviously it's the last year that the women will have their day alone without the guys out there, and nobody won Nice and Kona, so that I think that's probably Laura's.
Yes.
That's her thing. That's her goal. Taylor has shown that she can do incredible short distance racing. She's gaining experience here. She's an incredible engine. I think she would like to kind of just trot up and pull away. And then Lucy, of course, going wire to wire, winning 2 years ago here.
Yep.
Incredible performance. And from everything I've heard, she's like, okay, you guys don't think I can run? You watch me this year.
Well, she's won multiple T100s. She's running against some of the best Olympic athletes, and she's outrunning them.
Yeah.
That's scary if you're somebody else who's trying to beat her, knowing how great she was. 2 years ago, had the #1 swim, #1 bike, and I think her run was 4th, something like that. And now she's better.
And then you've got Kat Matthews, who heard that somebody predicted that the winning time for the women would be around 8:20, and she was offended. She's like, you think we're only going to go 8:20?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Show up on Saturday. We're going to show you.
Exactly.
It's going to take a lot more than that. So you got to love this race. You've got to love this place. You got to love Ironman. You got to love Bob Babbitt for doing Breakfast with Bob all these years.
Thank you, buddy. How about a round of applause for the grip, Mark Allen? Thank you all for being here. Poncho Man, take us out.
It's on the island, we do it all in style. Chee-hoo. From the mountain to the ocean, when we're to the leeward side, 'cause it's breakfast with Bob
and Poncho Man.